Nate Smoke 420. And once again, I am back with fan favorite Apex, aka Tony Tokes, and we're going to be talking about some interesting shit tonight, y'all. We're going to be talking about cryptids. And if you don't know what cryptids are right now, that's okay. Buckle in, sit back. We're going to give you guys a nice little schooling all about these folklore legendary creatures. All right, so Mr. Apex, what's going on, brother? Glad to have you back.
Glad to be back, bro. Tonight we're going to talk about cryptids and more of how certain media companies made mockumentaries about them to keep the stories alive, sort of, and how this sort of, in fact, impacted a lot of kids' lives growing up. Um, First, I want to state cryptids can range from, like, your typical Bigfoot all the way to ghosts and UFOs, depending on how loose you want to roll with that term. Um, and let me tell you, we're going to hit all those topics today. I guess let's just start with the classic Bigfoot. So, Nate, let me know what you know about Bigfoot so we can sort of go from there.
All right, so from everything I've ever heard my entire life, Bigfoot is just this mythological tall creature, like super shaggy, hairy, basically like Chewbacca, basically in real life on Earth, hiding somewhere in the woods in basically every state. Because mainly in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of documentaries I've seen, they do a lot of searching up there in that area. But basically, that's from what I understand. It's this giant, like 8 foot, 10 foot tall, fucking Chewbacca thing running loose in the woods somewhere in the fucking Pacific Northwest.
Alrighty, so you basically got hit the nail on the head. I guess let's talk about um, Bigfoot variety. There are a few different sightings, like skunk apes are reported within them, Bigfoot, and also the Yeti from the Himalayas is also classified within these large simian creatures that are supposedly roaming our woods. Now, being close to one of the supposed natural mountain ranges they travel, because a lot of these Bigfoot sightings are on these large national park trails, etc., where a lot of people do not go. Now, um, being close to the Appalachian Trail, which is one of the biggest mountain ranges in our area that spans from like parts of Maine all the way down to like Tennessee areas. And that's a big range for them to travel and not be, disturbed. So that's like one of the major things that keeps them, hidden. But media has brought them more into attention, especially with Survivor Man. He actually has a YouTube channel. He was on like all those Survivor Man TV shows. Les Stroud. Well, let's just say one of his videos that came across his desk was a very one of the most compelling Bigfoot videos since I believe the 1970 on like black and white film that was caught in California, where you could see the this tall ape walk this dry creek bed and what look back at you. Well, this video, it was even a special on Discovery Channel, which is one of the biggest channels for all this crap that happened at like the 2000s era or whatever when I was growing up. But you could see the actual full head shot of Bigfoot, and he filmed it, and that's what made Survivor Man go Bigfoot crazy, along with like his trips he was in Alaska, where he saw him personally too when he was out there all alone, for weeks on end. So that's definitely one of the more interesting cryptids we've have history with in our um life as human beings in our history.
Right now, my question is, where do you think this one comes from? There's got to be some kind of.
Well, there are two
Do you
main
think there's some
theories
kind of
which I
truth
was
to
going to
this?
hop
Like,
into
do you
on.
see this?
Well, the first thing is on actually, believe it or not, X Files took a deep dive into this for an episode where it is You have to realize we're just one species of hominids that just happen to survive eons. So, what Bigfoot most people believe, and this is what X Files pushed, was they're just a cousin of us that has not evolved down our evolutionary line of genetics and still retains ape like features. But because they're so big, so powerful, and able to travel so fast, and they are smart, they basically have learned from us and adapted to the leave no trace philosophy, where they bury their dead, they bury their shit, they live in underground caves, that are very numerous, especially in the Kentucky areas, etc.
Now, do you think they're able to procreate, or what do you think? Because I mean, if there's one or more, I mean, what are the chances of them
Well, that's the
actually
thing. To have this many
more
sightings,
colony?
well, that's the thing. If they're using these natural cave systems, they can travel miles without even being noticed. So realistically, if they adapted to live in these caves, travel these mountain ranges, and not and interact the way they do, with humans, it's no wonder they aren't seen more, or even talked about more. But there have been stories of people being kidnapped for days on end by Bigfoot, and people escaping them, etc. So, you know, stories can only be collaborated so much, but that's the thing. Once stories build up, we start to see the correlations and how to weed out information. Because realistically, that's the only way you can really tell any of these stories is by mass accounts of it over time and certain parts of stories being collaborated.
Right.
And
So basically, we're looking at like a possible fucking Bigfoot Hills Have Eyes bullshit going on. There could be like cave systems with like small colonies of these creatures.
Yeah, like in the movie The Descent.
Forever.
Yeah. And with like all that being said, there's also like a few, let's go into a few another like local legends, like the Jersey Devil, and one of the which is one of the local ones not too far from here in the oh god, what was it, in the Pine Hills forest area. Basically, it was like a demon baby or whatever, and then like I believe the movie was Rosemary's 13th Baby or some bullshit. It was based on, but basically it was like this child was the 13th child of whatever, and basically was supposed to be the devil, and there was all these sightings, and that's sort of where I want to transition into how I sort of got into cryptids, which is Lost Tapes that was on Discovery Channel. Now, this was one of those things Discovery was just starting to do. Um, and Lost Tapes was basically a found footage monster of the week type thing, where it was all scripted, but they didn't say it anywhere in the thing. You had to go searching for it on like websites and stuff. And honestly, who does that, But they basically produced it as like a real mockumentary type found footage deal. And like one of them was the Jersey Devil, which is one of the ones that stuck with you as a kid. You can find all of them on YouTube now, believe it or not. And like they had like the Mongolian death worm, Tremors, is